That's been actually very important to me. I've done a lot of identity work, and I do identity work with other women who are trying to break out of these type of relationships. What was it that could there be something I could do different to make sure I never end up in a relationship like that again? And there have been definitely some things that I've noticed. One being lack of a relationship with my father, and that creating a codependency within my relationships with men. I needed something from them that I had needed since I was a young girl, and so that gave them the upper hand right away. And men who are abusive in nature, they can see that in you, and they're drawn to it. They can see I can get away with whatever I want with this person once I get her emotionally hooked. And so that was a big one, for sure. Lack of self-esteem. I didn't have a good vision, a good idea, a good concept of who I was in Christ, the value that I had to my Creator, how priceless I was to Him. I had no idea. I didn't feel that good about myself at all. Mostly from those, lifelong daddy issues. And so I was looking to my husband to validate me, to, and it just, again, it just put everything in his hands. Rather than me being a strong woman partner beside him, I was emotionally dependent on him, and he used that against me. Absolutely. And I look for those signs now in the women that I encounter. I'd say the first one was isolation. I isolated almost completely. I disappeared. I started just disappearing from everyone's lives. It's very hard to stay engaged in community when you're going through abuse at home. You can't mask that for very long. Some are better than others. I couldn't mask it very well at all. And so I started isolating. People started saying I was just not around anymore. And then when they would encounter me, they would say, things like, it was like a ghost of her. I was barely hanging on. So it wasn't me anymore. It was just an empty shell of a person walking around. So that was definitely one of them. Another one was a lot of signs of depression, crying a lot, just not being emotionally stable anymore. I'd say those were the main things, the main signs. Being very jumpy, and like my nervous system was just shattered by him. So I was very jumpy. I started feeling very uncomfortable in any social situations and having a lot of anxiety. It really does a number on your mental health. I remember a conversation I had with the woman at the agency that I got my therapy, and she was the founder of that agency. And she pulled me into her office one day to talk to me and see how things were going. And I remember just feeling so much shame and wanting to kind of explain to her, what was going on, but just still feeling so bad about it all. And she stopped me and she said, I understand. and it's okay. You've been through a lot. And I don't think I'd ever had anybody tell me that. It was so validating to have somebody look at me, look into me, and see me for what I was going through and tell me, it's okay, I understand. Kind of like, you don't owe me anything. I'm not expecting anything from you. I see you and I validate you. Like I'm in agreement with who you are and what you need. And I didn't have that in my life, so that really helped me a lot. I remember it felt like a waterfall just washing over me internally. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, somebody sees me and it's okay, you know. And that was a turning point. Something in the back of my mind said, that's what you're gonna do for other women. You went through so much of this alone. You're gonna be the person that says, I understand, I see you, and it's okay. Because so many people make you feel like you're crazy. Like you're not making sense. Why are you acting like that? Why did you do this? Why didn't you leave sooner? Why? As though you owe them all these explanations, and they don't stop to really see you and accept you for where you're at. That helped a lot, tremendously. The therapy was a game changer for me. I didn't realize how much therapy could help. I had no experience with therapy prior to that. And the support that I found myself at church. I created, very intentionally, a safety net for myself at my church that included women's fellowship, Bible studies. There was a point in time I had myself in 4 meetings a week. I just knew I needed that level of support, and that was incredible. It was incredible to find that and intentionally set my life up that way, and then see the difference it made. Like a year later, I was so much stronger. And I didn't realize how much we need our community to prop us up during those times, you know, and they did that for me. So today, it feels really good to say that, you know, especially after my poor kids having this mom that was such a wreck for a few years, that I'm a very happy, healthy, whole mother. And I'm able to give that to my kids now. That was taken from me for a while. And that really crushed me because I knew that my kids deserved better than that. I'm able to stand tall in my marriage and take pride in the love that I share with my spouse. I'm able to offer hope to other women. Like, so many women go through these horrible marriages and they think, never again. I'll never put myself in that situation or be vulnerable again. And I love to offer that hope that, no, if you ever want to love again, there is that. You can have that. Not all men are that way, you know? And a woman deserves, if she believes that she is supposed to be married, she believes, or she's allowed to have that again. And God can absolutely manifest that for her. You don't have to constantly be in the aftermath of the abuse. So that's been nice to kind of shed that and be able to step into the woman that I was created to be, the wife I was created to be, the mother I was created to be. And then as I work with other women and counsel other women, watching them stand up and get stronger and shine and be able to become better moms for their children as a result of their healing, it's incredible. I never thought that I would feel this way, but it almost makes me not regret what I experienced, as awful as it was, and as much as I'd never do it over again, I'm like, I find so much purpose and meaning in it now, because there's not a lot of women that make it out and really completely heal to the point where they can help others from a place of I've been there and I understand. So I feel very honored that God saw fit to snatch me out of that horrible situation and piece me back together so patiently and then set me on this mission. So that's a hard one sometimes. There can be a lot of confusion when these topics come up in the church. I fortunately belong to a church that has a very strong ground against abuse. They just won't stand for it. The way that I heard it said by one of our pastors was, if you have a family, even if you want to debate whether the wife should be sticking around for more abuse, the children are being abused as well, just by being in a home that is that void of security and safety and that filled with tension and terror. That's child abuse, and child abuse is non-negotiable. They didn't make any choices to be there. They didn't choose that marriage, they didn't choose that man or that partner, and that should never be negotiable at all. So I would say I can't tell anybody what to do, but in a situation, in a relationship where there's abuse going, there has to be separation. There has to be. And there has to be, my husband is part of a men's group at our church, and they believe that women can't stop men, men stop men. And so they make it their business when they find out that this is going on within our church to go confront the man in love, but confront him and say, you're leaving or she's leaving. And you guys are gonna get help, and this isn't gonna continue like this. I wish I'd had somebody to do that for me, but we can do that. We can be that. We can be Jesus to these people who are suffering and completely powerless to stop it. We can reach out to them, and we can offer them a hand. We can offer them a way out. We can offer them a place to stay. We can offer them an advocate, somebody to come alongside them and say to the abuser, this stops now. It's not just you against her anymore. Now you're going to answer to us as well. There needs to be accountability in the church when it comes to this. God did not create women to be abused. We are his precious, precious daughters, and it was never, ever intended for the dynamic in a marriage to include abuse.